Step two in creating a successful marketing plan involves knowing your customer.
This is Don't Fear Grit with Rob Taormina. Marketing strategies and advertising technologies to help you build a better business.
Step two, when creating a successful marketing plan, revolves around this idea of knowing your customer intimately. You cannot move forward unless you actually know your customer. People get blinded by this honeymoon period of creating a great idea, and they think this great idea is enough to propel them to success. And what they end up doing, though, is they are blinding themselves to the process in order to be successful, the process that will give the best chance of capitalizing on that idea. Remember, ideas are crap. It's the process and execution really that are the difference makers for actually making money. So you want to create a successful marketing plan. Step two is you have to know your customers intimately. And you can start off by always asking yourself 3 questions during step 2 about the customer. Number 1, who is your customer? Number 2, what is it that they want? What do your customers want? And number 3, what motivates your customers? If you can't answer those 3 questions, you're going to fail. You're basically setting yourself up for failure. And so it's really great. A starting point that'll definitely help you in this sort of process here is answering those first 3 questions. But be diligent about that. Now, remember, the first 3 questions are you want to ask who's your customer, right? Number 2, what do they want? And number 3, what motivates them? Now, the first one, who's your customer? I mean, this is so important. It's not enough for you to create a product that you think is amazing, that you would want. You have to think now of the market, right? So who are you developing this product or service for? You have to understand and you have to know this customer intimately, because that helps you to develop a better product or service. That also helps you to develop better communication when delivering now your product or service. When you're bringing your product or service to the market, if you understand your customer, you will do a much better job. Now, what they want versus what they need is a big difference. Don't confuse the two. The two are not the same thing. The two do not live in the same room together. What people want and what people need are completely different things. Now, people typically buy what they want. They don't typically buy what they need. So if you're developing a product or service, and the only sort of parameters that you're building into this and telling your team and telling the people around you, well, I'm developing a product or service that's brand new, that the market needs this. Well, the problem with just bringing it to the market with this idea that they need it is not enough. You have to understand the psychological component that what's going on here. Understand how people buy, why people buy, what brings them to a purchasing decision, what brings them to a place of brand loyalty. You have to understand the valuable component, which is most people buy what they want. They're not buying what they need. So that'll help you craft the right messaging around your product, around this understanding that you'll have of what your customer wants. And then you can tailor it, and then you can craft that messaging that you know they need. And I'm not denying this, right? This is not marketing. And my suggestion for this marketing plan and this part of it is not to say that you have to change and what people need is not valuable. It is. But you also have to be honest simply about consumers and how they buy. They're not buying what they need. They buy what they want. Now, the last question that I suggested you ask yourself to start this process is understanding what motivates your customer. This is going to enable you to get their attention. It's also going to enable you to bring them from a place of now they are informed of your product and service. They are now interested in your product or service, and they want to get to the next place where now they are moving forward with your product or service. If you can understand what motivates them, it'll help you to navigate your consumer through that sales funnel a lot more efficiently, and you'll be able to convert a lot more sales if you're understanding what motivates your particular consumer. Now, I'm not necessarily just talking about, oh, well, discounts motivate. That's the obvious. I'm not talking about that. What motivates your consumers on a personal level that'll help them want to understand the value of your product, help them to want your product even before they realize that they need your product? What is that motivating factor? By going through these steps and really understanding and getting to know your consumers intimately, it elevates the status of your product in the market and will give you an edge. It'll give you that edge to enable you to enter that market with that brand new product or service. And you'll be able to convert a lot more people versus just saying, I've got this great idea, everyone needs it, here it is, and then being disappointed and discouraged that people are not actually going through with it and hiring you or purchasing your product. Well, it's because you didn't understand your consumer. By doing this, by going through this process before you're bringing it to market, it's worth the extra time and attention. Now, I know a lot of you might be thinking, well, I don't want to waste time doing this. I've already spent so much time into product development, or so much time into developing this service, or so much time into, I got the expenses of my office now and whatnot. Listen, you want longevity? If you want a career in what you're doing, if you want your product or your service to be able to put food on the table for yourself, for you and your family, and have a successful business for the future, you have to go through the work to create longevity. You got to build a solid foundation for the business that you have, or else you're simply going to falter. You're going to sink. No one's going to know about it. No one's going to want to buy your product. And you're just going to be another business that unfortunately closes up shop and fails. If you want to give yourself the best chance of being one of those businesses that experience success and are here for 3, 5, 10 years plus, then the work needs to be done on the front end. These are one of those things that you can do to help create a successful business. It involves a marketing plan. Step 2, like we're just discussing today, step 2 of the creating a successful marketing plan involves knowing your customer. Do the work. Due diligence is really important in this stage of the game right here, right? And it'll just help you be successful. I understand the discouragement. I understand the blood, sweat, and tears. I understand burning the midnight oil in this step, in this stage. People are tempted to skip this step, and they just want to jump to the next step here because they just want to get the product to the market. They want to get the service out there. They want to start hiring people, and they want to start allowing customers to buy their product or service. I get it. But don't rush the process because you don't want to be a one-trick pony and simply get one quick hit of success for one day. You want this to have longevity in the market. So in order to do that, you got to take time to understand who your customers are. Put pride aside that you apparently know what the needs are of your customers. Trust me, it doesn't work that way. You got to understand the psychological component when it comes to your consumers, and you're going to have to nurture them and sort of educate them in that process. And you can only do that properly if you know your consumers. Know your audience, know your consumers, know your ideal customer. It will help you with the end game, which is creating a successful business. That was step 2. In our next episode, we're going to be dealing with step 3 of creating a successful marketing plan.